How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. We are looking at two videos today, two very short sections of the same lesson, apparently, for this dog. Very cute dog. We are back here with Lionheart Canine. I've done a video on them in the past, and somebody suggested that I look at two parts of this dog's training session. So we're looking at Sunday School, SKOOL, dog training meetup in Sykesville, Maryland. So this is part 2 of 4 that I've seen. So before we get started, explain that this is being used under Fair Use Act for education, criticism, giving my point of view, trying to explain from the dog's point of view, give the dog voice, and explain how I might train the same behavior without using or relying on certain tools. This dog has an e-collar on. I'm being nice by saying e-collar. She has the remote right there. A choke chain, which doesn't look like it's attached. Maybe this is attached to the choke chain. Maybe it has another slip lead on there. I don't know. But cute little dog. We're going to see, I guess, what they're training the dog to do.
When you handle the leash, unlike when we're doing traditional leash and collar training, right? Everything's going to be in
Okay, so it does look like the leash. It looks like she has a leather leash. And that is, she has a leash lock going on with her hand. The little thumb lock. That's connected to the choke chain.
left hand. We're going to gather it the exact same way.
So I see her little hand here moving. So to me, she's using the shock collar. I'm not going to say e-collar the whole time. I'm going to be honest. She's using the shock collar, electric collar, whatever you want to call it. She's tapping it repeatedly while she applies a little bit of pressure on this leash, on this choke chain. So watch her hand move.
You see how my hand is motionless?
Shock, 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 shock.
Back up from the pressure.
Shock, 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 shock.
See how quiet that is? Right? We're on an 8 out of 127 settings.
It doesn't matter. An 8 can still be painful enough, and you're forcing this dog. I mean, this dog is so stiff, like, whether it's a hunting dog or not. Did you see how many times I would imagine that she was pushing that button? I can't even tell how many times she actually pushed it. But she's not even using the leash to teach the dog to give into pressure. She's relying on the shock collar. We'll go back a few seconds.
Hand is motionless, and I'm making him back up from the pressure. See how quiet that is?
See, he's just ignoring it now.
We're on.
Little tail is wagging, dog tail. Beautiful, looks like a German short-haired pointer. Dog tail. I'm not saying anybody here did that, but he's wagging his tail. I mean, he doesn't look like he's really. I mean, these dogs are stoic, so they don't show a lot. But it doesn't mean that just because he doesn't respond to it, whether wailing and crying or whining, he just looks confused. He looks dead, like dead inside, like dead broke, with like a horse. I mean, he just looks like he's certainly not having a good time. This dog over here has a nice loose leash. It looks like, I can't tell if it's in front of the person or in between their legs. I'm assuming in front of them, because I would assume they would have fixed it so they don't trip over themselves. This is also a shepherd type dog, or it looks like it. Maybe just a lap. I mean, this dog is a lot more, happy and willing to come with this person. They have a little bit of leash. They could have been trained the same way. I don't know. But this dog compared to this dog, there's a whole change, the two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as body language goes. I'm not saying this dog is shut down, but they're certainly not here and happy. And even after she finishes with her little, collar demonstration, she still keeps the pressure on. She hasn't released anything. So if she's trying to teach him to move into pressure, don't worry about the shock collar. You should be worried about the leash. He's moved back into this pressure. You need to release your hand.
Out of 127 settings. So what he realized fairly quickly is pulling on the leash is accompanied with something that I don't find...
You're still holding on to the leash, woman. You need to release some of this tension. Otherwise, you're teaching him, as little as this is, to ignore it. He feels this. If this leash is this tight, there's still tension on his throat. So you're ruining the cue of giving into pressure lightly, and you're going to make this person reliant on using a shock collar and tapping it repeatedly or going higher on the number. Why do you even bother? You don't even need this. You can teach, I always leave a link in every video of how I teach loose leash walking on a harness that clips in the back. You don't need the collar whatsoever. Unless she's using it for attention, like to keep the dog's attention, to correct it, keep it from looking at another dog. I don't know.
harmful, but I find distasteful. Right? With something that I don't find harmful, but I find distasteful. Right? When we're handling...
She says harmful, distasteful, whatever, lady. Whale eyes, she had to shock him to get him to move away. This is cowering. This poor little thing. So because she wants to be completely still, I don't know if this person is going into competition, where there's sometimes competitions where people have to remain absolutely still and tell their dog, a certain cue and this and that, but it doesn't matter. You can easily do that without any of this. This dog is guessing. And even when he gets it right, he doesn't get anything. He still gets, a correction of some sort because she doesn't loosen the lead, or she keeps tapping too long, or this poor dog.
Sit.
Sit. I'm sure holding the button down, she's going to explain it. I mean, no thank you. There's no good boy even. There's no nothing. There's no anything, I should say. There's no reward for this poor dog. She's got a death grip on his leash. I mean, these poor dogs.
Letting the e-collar do all of the work for me.
Yeah, letting the e-collar do all the work for you. You're constantly shocking him, and you're not giving him any help whatsoever. God forbid you move your body. You stop, standing around like a bump on a log. You stop being lazy or whatever it is. I mean, this just seems like laziness to me. She's literally she even said it herself, letting the e-collar, the shock collar, do all the work. So the dog has to literally guess, and he doesn't even get a chance to respond. She just says sit and holds the button down. She taps repeatedly. She doesn't tell him to back up. He's supposed to figure that out. When the leash is tight, she's going to keep the tension on. She's going to keep shocking until he figures it out. And then the only reward he gets is no more shocking. Wow.
For whatever reason, he's not wanting to sit today.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to sit today. I wonder why. Maybe because now you've taken out all the leash and he's much tighter. Maybe because you have the shock collar on him and you're constantly shocking him. He doesn't get rewarded when he does sit, aside from no more shocking. So why the hell should he sit? It doesn't matter if he sits or not. Because it's not enough, the release of the shock is not enough of a reward for him to want to do it over and over again. It's not reinforcement enough. You dummy? I mean, if you were to reward this dog with a Cheerio 3 times in a row for sitting, I'm sure he would be popping down like that. It's not a piece of meat, it's something enjoyable, or if he is a ball fiend or he likes to go chase birds, I mean, he's a hunting breed, it looks like. If you were to ask him to sit, no matter how long you may wait for it, you may lure him, he sits, he gets to go chase a bird or go after a retrieve. He comes back, you ask it again, he'll sit much quicker. Then you go for a retrieve or a ball or whatever. He comes back, you ask him to sit, bam. I'm sure he would love to do that, and you wouldn't have to wait, you wouldn't have to even touch him. But because you rely on the remote of an electric stimulation collar, and you can't do anything other than stand there, and you just expect him to read your mind, and you wonder, well, I wonder why he's not sitting so well today. God, like, are you, I mean, it's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah. Is it because he doesn't like his little tushy on this hard, terrible surface?
He's a pansy.
Oh, okay, great. Now we're going to make excuses and name call the dog. He's a pansy. He doesn't like his tushy on this material. Well, maybe he doesn't. He has short hair. If he's an intact male, yes, his testes could be uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to sit naked on this. Are you kidding me? I mean, I know dogs can put up with it, but so she called the dog a pansy. Okay, so I have no respect for her either. Anyone who name calls their dog, the reason why he doesn't want to sit is because you're constantly shocking him or pulling on his collar, or maybe he just doesn't like this. Maybe he has pain in his spine or in his back leg, or God forbid, maybe he has an anal gland issue, or he just doesn't want to sit in this situation because he doesn't feel comfortable to. But no, we'll just call him a pansy. We'll just make it the dog's problem, not my problem as the owner, not taking accountability as the owner to keep my dogs safe and make them feel comfortable, not as the accountability as the trainer to know better. We'll just name call the dog.
Sit.
So she pulls up on his choke chain. He sits there. He box or stalls, whatever you want to say it. Box as in BALKS. I think that would be how it's spelled, like to balk. And then right onto the shock collar. So this did nothing. I don't know why this rope is on here. I guess it's a little tagline if you don't have the leash. So not only extra tension of choking this dog, but shocking as well. God, that poor thing. I wonder why he doesn't want to sit.
This is what he's like.
Well, yeah, no wonder, lady. I would do the same thing. You would do the same thing. You would be crying. Both of these people would probably be crying and whining and complaining. If any of this treatment was put on them. I mean, look at this dog. This is not rocket science, people. Like, it doesn't take anyone with any... I don't have a bachelor's degree even, or associate's degree in animal science. I have my certification from the dog training school that I went to, and from studying, on my own, and common sense, and studying and listening to the dogs that I have worked with, and what they have told me. I mean, a 3-year-old can see that this dog is not happy. But yet, I don't know how old this woman is or how many years she's been doing this, but yet she won't see it. Either because you're ignorant and it's easy because she doesn't want to admit to herself, and neither does she want to admit to herself, that they're harming the dog, they're hurting the dog, they're scaring the dog is uncomfortable, they're forcing the dog. And by harming and hurting, I don't mean that, yes, it's the same thing, but I don't mean that they're beating him. But it's not just about the physical. She's choking him, she's shocking him. Even though if it's a light electric stim, it's still uncomfortable enough to force him to do what they want. It's also very important what's going on in here, inside of his brain. His emotional state. He is a slave. God, he's just, he looks shut down.
I have almost all my dogs are like that, especially the ones.
Oh my God, look at the amount of tension she's putting on this dog. She is getting frustrated, but she's not sounding like it. She lifts up with both hands to choke this dog, bringing his front feet up off the ground. So she mentioned something about her dogs and maybe they're testy. So I want to see what she said.
I have almost all my dogs are like that, especially the ones with testicles.
Okay, so she was losing. You could tell the strain that was in her voice as she was talking about intact males, as I stated before. She doesn't care about his comfort. She lifted this dog's front feet up off the ground, choking him very low on his throat to get him to sit again.
Right? Now, I didn't punish with the e-collar, I punished with the leashing collar.
You
right?
shouldn't be punishing with the e-collar anyway, right? Because people say it's not about, you don't use the collar to punish. You use the collar to condition a response, which is just nonsense. She punished, sorry, I'm getting too happy with my mouse. She punished the dog with the collar, choking him, lifting his front feet up. I imagine this dog is maybe 50 pounds max. Maybe I'm wrong. But, say he's 40, it doesn't matter. She lifted his front feet off the ground. She used both of her hands. And you could tell she strained in her voice as she was talking when lifting this dog up to correct him, to get him back in a sit. God, this poor dog. This is just absolutely just ridiculous that this is legal and promoted and supported. But if you want to support her, please do. Go support Lionheart K9. If you want to subscribe, if you want to pay, their membership or pay, for their services, then please do. I will never tell you not to. I'm just giving you my point of view. If you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, you have a right to your opinion. You have a right to tell me so. I don't have to listen to it, and I won't, but... Oh my gosh.
Right? Because again, this means go.
No, it doesn't. Because the dog still sees it as correction. How the hell does that mean go? When he got up, you corrected him before. You hit the button, and he sat. He got up again. You needed more force because you don't know what you're doing. And you lifted him up by his collar, his choke chain, which is illegal in many other, countries. I wish I could say states. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's not a slip chain. It's a choke chain. It's a noose. A metal chain around their throat. Same as a slip collar.
This means stop, right? Stop fighting me.
Stop fighting you. Him popping up out of the sit is not fighting you, dummy. Jesus. Yeah, exactly right. Stop thinking on your own. Do as I say. Slave, master. She's no better because she's sitting here, not only watching it, but she called him a pansy. So you could tell she's clearly in support of this. God, this poor dog. He is just so like, this is my life. If I could put a little thought bubble there, that's what I would think. I mean, that's what I would translate this to.
So I'm going to apply direct pressure in order to initialize a behavior that I want.
Which is just stupid and pointless. It's all correction to him. He doesn't care.
I'm going to use direct pressure from the leash to punish things that I don't want.
It's all the same to him. It is all force. Force from the pain of the shock collar to get him to move backwards or forwards or wherever, and pain and force from the collar to punish him. It's all punishment. It's all force. I don't care what you say. He doesn't care what you say. He doesn't care about your intentions.
With a dog that has this level of training, I'm not relying on the e-collar to say, no, bad dog. I'm relying on the leash, which is what he's been taught. Okay? There are occasions where you would use both simultaneously.
Baloney.
This is not that time. All right? So when we
I've worked with many dogs that have been taught to ignore leash pressure, even high levels of shock, spray, everything. And I've still been able to work with them and make them soft again on a harness, and they're very responsive to a 6-foot leash and light finger pressure. And I don't ever have to even touch them or put any kind of correction on them. I don't even have to really correct them. If you want to see how I teach loose leash, you can check out the link in the description below. That's an example. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't have to use a choke chain just because the dog's been raised and taught that way. I can teach the dog a whole new language, and to be soft by using a harness, by using traits or toys as motivation, or sniffing, or going out after, going into the brush for a little bit, running around.
We're handling everything so that our hands
just shorten the leash so much.
Room?
Yeah, so wow, a whole foot of room. Lovely.
Room to be right, but not enough room to be wrong. And what I'm doing is I'm simply controlling the leash in such a way that if I feel...
I'm also watching this guy over here and seeing what he's doing.
Leash pressure, I tap with the collar. I'm not going to be reactive with my left hand. I'm simply going to...
Tightening up that leash already.
...to index my hands like we've done in the past.
So you're gonna just ambush him with the correction. This poor dog, man. Gonna give him just enough leash to hang himself with. We see whale eyes. We see this is really loose, so if she does pop it, it's gonna really hit him.
So that he doesn't, it's not part of the visual image, but the same...
So you can sneakily correct him. He's not stupid, lady. He's probably smarter than you. He knows when this collar is on, that's what's doing it. And when it's off, he's not gonna listen.
Time, I get a direct transmission of information if he pulls, right? So if I'm
It's not transmission of information. It's just a shock, and he says, ouch, it's painful.
To the left, or
I mean,
to
you
the
could
right,
call that information.
Bend a heel. That leash pressure, I'm tapping until it's no longer pressure.
So we don't know how much she says tapping. Is she just using the e-collar? Shock, shock, shock to get him to sit. She didn't even ask him for a sit. She didn't even practice any of this.
Hurry, hurry. Good. Hurry, hurry. Sit.
So earlier, when you were healing, you didn't tell him to sit. You just waited and shocked the button, hit the button, and he sat. This time you say sit and shock the button, and he sits. So which one is it? Do you want him to automatically sit? Or do you want to wait to tell him to sit? Because you're very confusing. You're not even consistent.
Very nice.
That's not impressive at all. So, thanks for watching. This is part 1. Part 2 will be coming up shortly. Hope you got something from this one. I know I'm already riled up like in just this short little instance, I didn't expect to be so riled up. But thanks for watching. Go say hi to your little critters. Give them some kind of loving for me. And until next time, practice positivity.